Hello, welcome to the Joe Cortez Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment and the boxing capital of the world. Well, today we have a special guest. He's been with us for a number of years, none other than my man, middleweight champion of the world.
Right. They'd probably light heavyweight at this point in time, but yeah. Well, I'm glad to be back, man. Done the show many a times with you now. You've really been a huge influence on my career here. I kind of cut my teeth on the Joe Cortez Show, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago now.
Right.
Lost track, done many shows with you, and very grateful to be back.
Well, Jason Vincent, it's a great pleasure to have you on the show. We're going to talk a little bit about your boxing career, where's boxing going today, and let's talk a little bit about the fight last weekend. Terrence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez. What do you think about that fight?
Oh, man, what a phenomenal performance by Terrence Crawford and his coach and his whole team, Bomac and the whole team. I've been very fortunate to meet them a few times at Top Rank Boxing here in town for different things, sparring events, or I've been practicing refereeing and all that. And, man, they're just, Terrence is just a phenomenal person and a phenomenal athlete and a phenomenal fighter, boxer. And wow, I just the IQ of him and his team was just brilliant, and he put on a flawless performance to me.
Did. He was outstanding. Now, he's been a champion for a number of years. Even though he's a little bit older than Canelo, he's 37, Canelo's 35, and I don't think the age made any difference in this fight. They both came out and they give it all they had.
Well, I always like to say that too, and not in Canelo's defense. He got beat. He was frustrated. Everybody saw it. Everybody that knows anything about boxing watched it. Saw him kind of throw his hands up and get frustrated. But yeah, it's hard to use the age in this one because Terrence was 2 years older, 37. Canelo's 35. But I'm going to tell you this. Canelo has a lot more mileage on the card per se. You know, Terrence has gone years where he's fought one time. So when you compare the rounds, you know, Canelo had hundreds of more rounds than Terrence Crawford did. But even, I think, at Canelo's best, Terrence Crawford beats him.
Yeah, well, there's always somebody better than you out there.
Yeah.
You know, they both gave it all they had. You know, Canelo gave him a lot of credit for all the years that he's held onto his belts. And I think now he's probably thinking about retiring.
Well,
maybe another fight or two he got left.
Yeah, I'd like to see maybe one or two go out on his own terms there. He still has a lot of money left on that contract with Turk and those guys. I think it's $70 million per fight, so that's hard to leave that on the table. I think you know, would he fight a Benavidez or a Bivol rematch? Maybe not, but some tough opponents that will bring in a lot of eyeballs to boxing. I'd love to have Canelo back in Vegas because being born and raised here and being in the casino business and the service industry business, Canelo's good business. He brings a lot of eyeballs. He brings a lot of customers. A lot of people are getting hotel rooms, driving in, gambling, drinking, eating. You know, it's a lot of commerce to our city.
You know, a lot of fans say that boxing was dying. I don't know, 70,000 fans at the
chills, man.
70,000 fans. I mean, it really is an honor to have fighters that died with the ability that they both have. They're really good fighters. Now, tell me what's happening with you with the amateurs and the pros.
Well, I been real busy the last couple years in professional boxing. I with the WBF being the vice president and making title fights all over the world for the WBF for a few years. I was very, very grateful for Mick Croucher, the president, and Paulie, the executive director, there with them to give me that opportunity and chance. I learned so much about the business. I think I ended up doing 23-ish, who lost count, 23, 22, 24 title fights in a 2.5-year period. I did step away from that position last year. I wanted to pursue other things in boxing. I manage a professional fighter, Michael Das Marinas, who's been on the show before, and he sang to you on the show before. He fought Naoya Inoue a few years ago at the Hard Rock Hotel here. And then I got into the matchmaking side of things. So I'm learning more about the business every day, just trying to become more well-rounded, making a lot of connections, learning a lot. So it's been a unique 3 or 4 years in the professional ranks, hitting the WBA conventions, WBC conventions, the NABF conventions, going to ranking committees, going to the officials' clinics, the doctor, the medical clinics, just learning, just absorbing everything. So that was something I'm very proud of. The highlight of my year this year, been a very busy year. You were at an event. I made my professional debut in Las Vegas, Nevada as a matchmaker with Reed Boxing Promotions at the Westgate Hotel, February 22nd. Joe was ringside with me.
Right.
It was an honor to have you there because you kind of helped me with my career and mentored me. But we did, we had 7 fights there. We got 6 in the ring, and we did 4 WBF title fights.
Right.
Derek Ruiz was the supervisor for the WBF. So that was one of my highlights this year. I was in Nagoya, Japan about a month and a half later in March or April for my fighter Michael Das Marinas fight over in Nagoya, Japan. I hadn't been to Japan since I was in the Navy in 1994. And then we just fought on the OTX card against a really highly ranked, he's in the top 3 in the world at featherweight and all the sanctioning bodies, Elijah Pierce. And we just came up a little short. We were winning on all the scorecards. We ran out of gas in the 9th round. Hats off to Elijah. We knocked Elijah down in the 1st round. The UBO, the WBO Intercontinental title was on the line, and the supervisor came to me and said we were winning the fight by 2 rounds at that time when we got stopped. So. And then other than that, like I told you before we started, one of my biggest highlights of the year is I came back to amateur boxing. Joe and I did an event earlier this year where we did play-by-play commentation.
Yeah, that was at the Virgin Hotel, right?
We did one at Virgin, but then we did one at the Radiate Center there, and we had Mark Mixeo and Jesse Magdaleno, and all those guys were there. And Joe and I were able to do the play-by-play, so I got to share the microphone with you again, which was an honor. And then I came back about 2 months ago. I did that same event again at the Radiate Center, and I had my daughter there, and I got to referee a couple bouts and judge a few. And we had Mark Mixeo was there, Jesse Magdaleno was there, Fernando Vargas was there, Bruce Carrington was there. They flew in Isaac Pitbull Cruz. He was there. I got pictures with my daughter and all the fighters. And
Talk about your son and your daughter. What's happening with them these days? I know you're doing something with dancing your daughter.
Yeah. My daughter's 8th grade here locally, and man, she's in dance at school. She's been doing dance since she was 2.5 years old. She wanted to play flag football this year, so she's starting, like your grandson, she's starting defensive back or safety on her flag football team, and they're 4-0. The girls are 4-0, so I call it the no-fly zone. They're not scoring touchdowns on them.
How about your son?
My son's doing good, doing real good. He EMT classes. He's training to be the fire department. Want to say congratulations to my younger brother Troy Lucas, 39 years old. He's in the fire academy as we speak. I think he's in the 2nd week in boot camp for the fire academy here for, I believe, Clark County. My son just had shoulder surgery, so he's recovering from that, and then he's going to start pursuing being a fireman. But I also want to mention my daughter Mia will be dancing. Her first paid professional gig. She's dancing in the downtown Summerlin outdoor mall. They have the parade, the Halloween parade. So it's going to be starts not this Friday, Saturday, next Friday, Saturday. They do a parade on Friday and Saturday, and the Parade of Mischief. And they're going to do that for 4 weeks in a row. So it'll be eight parades. So if anybody ever wants to go watch that, and then they do a Christmas parade the following months.
That's great. That's good to see the youngsters get involved with different activities. I mean, there's too much shooting and drugs out there today. We got to do something about that.
That's one thing I believe is keeping my kids and other people's kids active and off the streets, and whatever we can do. I don't care what they do. Karate, taekwondo, kickboxing, football, baseball, flag football, whatever. Just get them out of the house and get them active.
Yes, you have to.
Church.
Tell me, what do you think about boxing today compared to the days when you first you started with MMA about 20 years ago?
Yeah, I've been training and competing and coaching and managing and everything I do for 21 years now. This October will be 21 years. I got to pinch myself. One of the greatest decisions I ever made in my life to walk into a mixed martial arts gym and start training. It was Roy Nelson, Big Country with the UFC. And, I think right now, especially after this past fight with Crawford, and even what Jake Paul's doing and the Mike Tyson thing, whether you like it or not, this is what I say to people. the true people in the sport that like the old ways. I say football's not the same as it was 20 or 30 years ago. You can't hit the receiver, you can't hit the quarterback, you can't do this, you can't do that. Baseball's different. The pitcher has to throw the ball in 15 seconds. They have designated hitter on both sides. So when I'm saying NASCAR's different, everything's different. So they try to make it more entertaining for the masses. Some people like that, some people don't. They're trying to expand the audience. So what I'd say about boxing is I think boxing is in a good place.
Yeah.
It can always improve. It it has its up and down cycles. But when you see 72,000 people fill up Dallas Cowboy Stadium for a Mike Tyson fight, whether you like it or not, and it's on Netflix, and then you see a record here, 70,000 people at Raider Stadium, Allegiant Stadium, and they're setting all type of records, and Katie Taylor and Serrano and all these different fights that are going on with the females. I think boxing's in a good spot. Can it improve and get better? Absolutely.
Yeah, getting better. Talking about female boxing, there's also a judge that I'm helping out. She's a judge. She's a referee. You know her, Dela Ramos?
Delilah, yep.
Delilah, yeah. She's a up-and-coming referee in the amateurs, and I think she wants to go pro by next year. So I've been helping her a little bit. And good to see females get involved with boxing. You have a lot of female fighters like Serrano and Taylor, but referees, you don't find too many female referees out there. I think the timing is right for her.
Yeah, Delilah's got a lot of passion for the sport. She's an awesome person. Volunteers with her church. She's gone overseas to like Ethiopia, Africa to teach boxing, and she works with cancer patients, which she does for a living, and she does classes for cancer and I don't know, Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, but I believe cancer, shadow boxing classes and stuff. So she's really into it. She's a very good referee learning. I can see her definitely gravitating into the professional ranks. She has that type of temperament and smarts and that type of ability.
Exactly.
She's an amateur boxer herself, so she's been in the ring and been punched in the face, so she knows how that feels and what to look for. I think she's a little more acute, knowledgeable of what to look for in the ring because of her experience actually being a female boxer or fighter. So sky's the limit for her, and she puts a lot of work in. She practices weekly.
Every day.
She studies film. I mean, she does it all. So she's working with Ben Rodriguez, Gino's son out there in Chicago, right? Ben Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I worked with him in the amateurs and some other pro officials out there to kind of mentor her.
Talking about Gino Rodriguez, a former referee, his daughter's doing pretty good too.
She's a referee, yeah?
No, she's a movie star.
Oh, movie star, yeah. Gino was an actor too, though. Did I read on his? I know he was a referee, a famous referee, but
I don't know about acting, but he was a decent referee.
Yeah.
But I was glad to. One day he took me to see his daughter. She was dancing. She was like 12 years old.
Yeah.
And now she's a very popular, actress.
Actress, yeah. I worked with his son Ben a couple times throughout the years, but him and I did a USA Boxing national event at the end of the year in December, and I think it was 2021, right after COVID. There was still some COVID restrictions, but it was in Shreveport, Louisiana, and him and I were at Ring 2 together. So I worked with Ben the whole week. So I learned a lot from him.
Yeah, I don't recall meeting him, but his daughter, yes.
He's a professional referee too. Ben, now, he does pro stuff too.
Well, his father did very good as a referee himself, Gino Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And one day I saw him. One day he got upset with the fighter. The fighter hit him by mistake or something. He said, "What are you doing?" And he smacked the guy in the face. Gino said, "I said, Gino, how can you smack a fighter in the face like that?"
I can't remember where I saw it, but a clip of you came on. You still had the hair and the mustache, so it was back in the days, and two guys were in the pocket punching, and I don't know if you came to step in to break them or whatever, but someone threw a punch and clocked you right in the face, and you kept moving on like nothing happened.
No, that was not me.
That wasn't you.
No,
that
was Mark Nelson.
Was it Mark? Okay, yeah. And the announcer or whatever was like, "Oh man, that ref just ate the punch," and act like it never happened. It
was Mark Nelson.
Was it Mark Nelson from Minnesota?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good referee. His father,
a good guy.
His father was good. He was a good referee. Then he became a judge. He retired.
You know, I got Mark a refereeing gig in the Cayman Islands, I believe back this June.
Yeah.
So they flew Mark from Minnesota down to the Cayman Islands, and he worked a couple amateur fights and they had 4 or 5 pro fights. So I had Mark in the Cayman Islands. Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's a good guy and one of the better referees out there, too.
I watch Mark Nelson all the time. When I was aspiring to be a pro referee, I had to look at your old clips. But Mark Nelson was his footwork and his movement and his timing and his distance is impeccable. It's the best.
It was good. He was doing good. He used to follow me all over the place. His father told him, watch Joe Cortez.
Yeah?
He did. You see him and I, almost, he looked just like me refereeing the fight. Good movement. He was all over the ring.
He has that constant movement. He rarely see him completely stop. It's constant movement, and a lot of referees can't do that.
You got to watch some of the fight. I told Delilah the other day to watch a fight that I was doing with Prince Nassim Ahmed and Marc Antonio Barrera.
You got to be on your roll.
I was on my toes that night. And Prince Nassim Ahmed was a crazy fighter. He was all different angles.
All over the place.
All over the place. You had to be moving all the time with him.
Hector Macho Camacho was another guy that was, he would just kind of go over here and throw something this way and come back. And, he was just had awkward movement, real awkward movement.
I referee him with who was it? I think it was Trinidad. Camacho and myself were in our ring together.
Yeah.
That was good.
Did you ever referee one of my favorite fighters of all time? You probably did, but Boom Boom Mancini.
No, I never refereed Boom Boom.
Oh, man.
I know him personally. He was a good fighter back in the early 70s.
Yeah.
Late 70s.
Late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, he was a good fighter.
Yeah. He was one of the fighters I grew up watching in the 80s, early 80s.
Yeah, he was a good fighter. Good. Boom Boom Mancini. He's the one that he killed. Unfortunately, there was a death in the ring when he fought Dooku Kim from Korea, and that's where they stopped doing from 15 rounds. They went to 12 rounds.
And it was out in the heat, too. It was pretty hot at Caesar's Palace. I watched the documentary on it, man, and it brought me to tears. He met Boom Boom finally, it was the build-up of everything that happened. And then towards the end of the documentary, Boom Boom met Kim's wife and child that he never. She was pregnant with Kim's child when he passed away.
And then his mother, unfortunately, committed suicide. Shortly thereafter, and the referee Richard Green.
Yeah,
he was the referee for that fight. He also committed suicide.
Was he a local out here?
Yeah,
he lived out here.
Yeah, he was a local. Yeah. Richard Green. Then you had Richard Steele, Mills Lanes, and myself. We did all the big fights, but Richard Green, I never got to meet him, but he was.
Because that was early. You didn't come out till late '80s, early '90s.
I came here in '92. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was about 10 years before. Yeah.
Yeah, good referee. You hate to see anybody get hurt in the ring. That's why I told referees out there to. Be careful with fighters. Fighters get knocked down, they're losing the fight. Why let them take any unnecessary punishment? I said, if fighters go down 2 times, 3 times, they're losing every round. You guys start thinking about going in the corner, selling your call. It's calling the doctor, check him out. And then maybe thinking about stopping the fight. I'd rather stop at a punch too soon than a punch too late.
You got to live to fight another day, or get these fighters home to their family. Their kids, their wives, their husbands, whoever, females. I do that in the amateurs too. I like to get people. I try to get them to the finish line, the end of the. Even if they're losing the fight, I try to get them to at least complete the bout, the fight, and they feel good about themselves. But if you can't, you can't. Safety is always first, and it's a brutal sport. Unfortunately, you see, a few boxers passing away every year around the world because of this. And, I remember you telling me a story where you stopped a fight and everybody got upset with you, and the guy went in the back, and they had to get the ambulance back there.
Right. He had a seizure back in the dressing room. His name was, he had the Aladdin Hotel. It was Fernandez versus the kid from Africa. He was Olympic champion.
Not Azuma, no.
No. Anyway, the thing was that I stopped the fight in the 10th round, and people were booing me because he was slightly ahead on the scorecard, supposedly, from what I heard. They were booing me. Why are you stopping the fight? He said, hey, Joe, I'm okay. Why are you stopping the fight? And Dr. Campana checked him out, and he said, Joe, he's okay, Even the commissioner said, Joe, why did you stop that fight? I said, well, he was taking a little punishment, and I don't like the way he looked when I stopped it. 15 minutes later, they came running out of the dressing room. He's having seizures back there.
A couple more punches. Yeah.
Anyway, they rushed him to the hospital. He was there, and doctor came out of the emergency room. I was outside waiting, and his family and trained. Everybody was outside, and he said, Dr. Capano said, Joe, it doesn't look too good. And 2 days later, he passed away.
Oh,
That's why boxing, I'd rather stop it to punch too soon than a punch too late.
And you know from experience,
Exactly.
a lot of people. That's experience that you can shed on up-and-coming referees and officials from your experience.
The fighter's name was Robert Wangila.
Yeah.
Robert Wangila, he was Olympic champion from Ghana.
Ghana.
And his wife and the 2 daughters were here at the hospital. They were at the fight that night, too. They were upset that I stopped the fight, but then they realized, wow, Joe know what he was doing. We get trained to watch fighters, when they're taking a certain punishment or when it's good time to stop it. And I did the same thing with Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard's last fight against Camacho, I jumped in and I stopped it when his knees buckled a little bit, and I held him in my arm, I waved my hand like, that's it. In my ear, he whispered, "Thanks, Joe."
Yeah, that's rare that you get that, but he already, these guys are going to go out on their shields. Some of these guys aren't afraid to leave it all in the ring like that. And, a lot of times you got to protect the boxers and the fighters from themselves, and then the corners don't stop it either. And when I've refed over 500 amateur bouts, one of the last things when I'm giving my instructions in the corner before I call the boxers to the center of the ring, I put my hand on the coaches or the chief second, and I say, help me protect these kids. Yeah. And I go say the same thing to the other corner, because these coaches and these seconds and these chief seconds know their boxer better than I do.
Right, exactly.
And, that's someone's kid. I stopped a few in Utah when I just came back. I reffed about 12 bouts in Payson, Utah, right outside Salt Lake City, and there were some really high-level guys, and they were going back and forth, but one guy was just getting the best of the other, and these were national-level type guys. And I let it go into the third round, and then finally, like you said, the guy to get knocked down was just too tough for his own britches. I jumped and waved it off, and he's like, hey, and I'm like, they respected my decision. I'm like, look, I don't want to be out in the parking lot and you getting taken in the ambulance, and I got your mom and dad up in my face, and I want to protect you, but B, I don't need to be getting in trouble with your mom or your aunt or your tia or something out in the parking lot. I go, you're a young man, you'll live to fight another day. Man.
I remember you talking about the fighter taking too much punishment. It's time to stop it. I remember when I did George Foreman and Michael Mora. Yeah. George Foreman, 45 years of age.
Yeah. You let that one go.
He was losing all 9 rounds. And then the 10th round, he took that one punch. In the 10th round, Foreman knocked out Michael Mora. But if I would have stopped the fight in the 7th or 8th round, people probably would have said, well, Joe know what he's doing, Yeah. They probably would have not protested.
What about Manny Pacquiao and, who's it, Marquez?
Marquez.
Yeah, that one too. Or Tony Weeks when he did Diego Corrales. Yeah. And, I was like, I was going to stop that one.
And Castillo, yeah.
And then he came back and won. But speaking of George Foreman, I've been working with a promoter out of Chicago, Illinois, who actually fought George Foreman back in the day, a heavyweight fighter. He's a promoter and a matchmaker now. He's done over probably 200 promotions. A gentleman by the name of Bobby Hitz. Okay. It's boxing promotion, Bobby Hitz. He fought George Foreman way back in the day. So he does have an event October 3rd in Rockford, Illinois, outside Chicago there. It's a professional event at the new Hard Rock Casino out there. He had an event last July. I made 4 matches for him on that one, and then this one I did 3 matches for him on this one. So if anybody's out in that area, October 3rd, Bobby Hitz Boxing Promotion in Rockford, Illinois at the Hard Rock Casino there. I think we got about 6 or 7 fights matched up on it. It's going to be an awesome night of professional boxing if you're out in that area.
Yeah, that's great. That's good. They keep boxing alive. There's not that much boxing today like it was years ago. I mean, there was in the 80s and the 90s, especially in the 80s. I went to Atlantic City, referee Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 nights, sometimes a Wednesday night, go back home, drive 3 hours, come back. Friday, Saturday, I would stay there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, come back Sunday.
I miss those days, Joe, where you had the I don't like to call them low-level shows, but the club shows and the mid-level shows, not top-ranked boxing or PBC or Netflix and all that. But you had those 4- and 6-round events. The main event might be an 8-rounder, where all these boxers, all these fighters, all these coaches, all these judges, referees, officials, people that want to get into matchmaking, you can bridge yourself from the amateur ranks into the professional ranks. It was almost like a AAA type thing. But guys like you back in those days could get all your reps, your live reps, and your work, and going and doing these 4- and 6-round events. And
it was good. I learned a lot doing those 4-round and 6-rounds.
Yeah,
I did that for about 4 or 5 years before I did my first world title fight.
Yeah,
it was Atlantic City. I remember Pryor, Miguel Montilla.
Pryor, yeah.
Aaron Pryor.
Yeah.
Aaron Pryor, Miguel Montilla. Yeah, my first fight. And I tell you that I'll be back there this weekend. This coming weekend, I'm getting there. I'm getting inducted to the
into what? The New Jersey Boxing Hall of Fame? Or Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame?
The Atlantic City Boxing
Hall of Fame right here.
The coming weekend, Saturday.
Congratulations.
I was inducted to the New Jersey Hall of Fame back in '98, I believe it was.
So this is your 4th or 5th Hall of Fame, right?
This is my 6th.
6 Hall of Fame. So you got International, it'll be Atlantic City, New Jersey, New York,
Nevada
Boxing Hall of Fame,
California Hall ofAme, the Texas MMA Hall of Fame last December.
That's right.
And then I'm going on this year now for the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame.
You know, I wish they had a amateur boxing Hall of Fame. I've never heard of it, and that would be something cool because I think you and your brother, you know, with your amateur background and winning the Golden Gloves and all that in Chicago and at Madison Square Garden, knocking 2 guys out in the same night, which will never happen again. I mean, that should be enshrined in the...
I did that at Madison Square Garden, yeah. It was a fighter by the name of Ralph Jackson. And I forgot the other fighter's name, but I knocked them out, both of them out. In the one, the referee had to stop it. The other one, I knocked out.
Yeah.
It was great. Madison Square Garden, there were 12,500 fans that night.
That's amazing.
And my brother Mike won one by decision, one by KO.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good old days, you know. Yeah, we should have a national amateur
USA
Hall
Boxing or just an amateur boxing Hall of Fame.
But we'll probably end up starting that out in the very near future. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, friends out there, you know, we're talking about all these kids out there staying active with sports and boxing. There's too much killing going out there all over the country. We got to put a stop to this. I think some kind of program getting kids more involved with boxing, baseball, hockey, you name it, MMA. They can do all kinds of boxing, all kinds of sports to keep themselves off the street. There's too much killing going out there. I don't like that. You know, you got your kids active in different sports, which is good. We'd like to see our viewers get your kids more involved with different activities. There's too much drugs going on. The fentanyl has been killing a lot of kids out there. Every year you get fentanyl and shooting. I have a friend, Kevin Oliver, who's a father of 2 kids, and they both passed away the same year. One for the drugs and one got shot. I mean, and I heard that. I had my friend Kevin Oliver tells me these stories, and he's out in Texas. I'm going to be seeing him again this December out in Texas, and you see these kids taking their life away so young. You know, they're 16, 13 years old. You say, oh my God, you know. So we got to do something about it. That's why I'm glad you do what you do with your box to keep these kids active. We need more guys like you to keep the kids off the street and keep them on the right track.
Well, you know, it's very important. Like you said, we always say keep the kids active, and absolutely, we need to keep the kids active, and whatever it is, dance, the arts, martial arts, you know, sports, whatever it is. But we also have to keep the parents active and activated. And what I mean by that is the parents need to get involved. Volunteering at the school, volunteering for Little League, volunteering with USA Boxing. You know, if there's a neighbor kid that the parents, because of their schedules, can't take it, but the kid's really passionate and wants to play soccer with your daughter, give them a ride, pick them up, you know, work something out like we used to back in the 70s and 80s. So it's not only keeping the kids active and their minds active, they'll be better students, they'll be better people, they'll be better young men and women, better citizens, but we have to keep the parents active too. And you know, I hope for the majority of us, there was someone that influenced us in our lifetime, that mentored us or helped us along the way, a coach, a teacher, someone at church, whatever it was, that as you get older, it is kind of our responsibility to give back a little bit to you. Not, you know, you don't have to dedicate your whole life to it, but to give back and play it forward, pay it forward, and give back. And that's what I try to do.
Yeah, I've been thinking lately about doing a program for parents. You know, educate the parents on do's and don'ts in life, especially those parents with kids. To teach the parents. Sometimes the parents need some guidance as well.
Of course.
Sometimes they do so much drinking, smoking, and drugs and whatnot.
On the phones all night long.
And not paying attention to the kids. I mean,
Correct.
the kids see the parents drinking, smoking, doing drugs, and you know what? The kid's going to follow the steps, you know? So we got to try to get them on the right track, teach the parents to do the right things, you know, keep them active and pray to God, you know. There is a God out there, you know. Pray to God to help you and guide you in the right direction, especially your children. Those children are so important. We brought them to this world. We're responsible for them, and we're making sure that they do the right things in life. Kevin, Jason, boxing has been good to you, and a lot of people, you got on the right track, a lot of officials. We want to thank you for being on the show today, because people like you are the ones that really help out in the community. You're always out there doing something. We need more people like you out there. To me, you're my undisputed champion. The undisputed champ right here. Anyway, Jason, please keep on helping the community. What you're doing a good thing with the kids, with the boxing, the judging, the promoting fights. You're doing a lot of good things about it. Keep up the good work. We're very proud of you.
I appreciate it, guys. One of my, like I said, one of my big highlights this year, and I've been able to do a lot of things in the business, is coming back to the amateurs. Man, it was just, everybody welcomed me with open arms, and it made me feel really good and happy to be back.
Okay, well, thank you so much, fans, for listening today. Our show, Jason Vincent, one of the top ones in boxing today, does so much for you, for me, for everybody, for himself, the whole community. Please pray to God and make sure your kids go on the right track. See you next week. God bless. Remember, guys, I'm fair, but I'm firm. Touch them up.